Welcome to the So What from BCG, the podcast that explores the big ideas shaping business, the economy, and society. I'm Georgie Frost. In this episode, sales is moving away from superstar performers towards augmented selling. So when performance is shaped by AI as much as skill, what does the future of sales really look like? Well, joining me is Japjit Ghai, who leads BCG's AI efforts for sales globally. Japjit, what's your so what?
Every team has few Michael Jordans who just see and play the game differently. The technology to bring everyone else meaningfully closer to that level is finally here and getting better by the day. It's about reimagining the customer experience and the entire sales workflow so AI can surface sharper signals, personalize every moment, guide sellers in real time, and strip away the toil that drags them down. Companies that do this aren't just becoming more efficient, they're building a higher velocity, more personalized, and more effective and competitive sales engine.
For years, AI in sales has mostly meant chatbots answering FAQs or nudging customers towards a help centre. But change is happening. AI is starting to move from the sidelines to the front line, helping qualify leads, shape sales conversations, and influence buying decisions. So what does that shift mean for sales teams, and how can companies stay ahead?
What feels generally different right now is that AI is finally operating in the flow of selling. For years, we've had sales tech living on the sidelines, helpful but not transformative. Now, AI can read signals across the customer journey, tailor the outreach instantly, coach sellers in the moment, and strip away the toil that slows the deals down. It's not another tool in the stack, it's becoming part of the motion itself. And when that happens, the impact starts showing up directly in revenue and not just in productivity dashboards.
Japjit, is this across the board? Are we speaking here about what's reality or what's potential?
It's not across the board. Two things we observe. One, companies that start with a clear commercial outcome in mind and not the technology are pulling ahead. They know whether they're trying to acquire new customers, expanding the existing ones, reducing churn, or improving pricing, and then they design the AI around those specific motions. Second, initially we saw the interest more around technology and consumer goods companies over the past few years because they had better quality signals. But in the last year and a half, we've seen companies across healthcare, financial services, energy, utilities, industrial goods, all trying to come and use the opportunity to leapfrog with the recent advancements in technologies. And the last thing we observe is companies who have more data, more number of customers, more product types, and have more volumes are benefiting a lot more from AI's ability to personalize than companies that have highly complex, more involved, multi-stakeholder sales motions.
We both mentioned the superstar salesperson, the Michael Jordans, as it were. Is that it for them? Do we no longer need these superstar salespeople?
This is absolutely not the end of the superstar seller. In fact, it's an evolution. Their role is changing. What AI does is it raises the baseline across the team and also creates more room for our very best sellers to do what they like to do most, what they're great at doing. Well, AI can handle the pattern recognition, the preparation, the research, the content generation, the triaging, the clarifications. These are all things that would traditionally create toil and drag for the sellers and pull them away from the customers. If you take all of that away, human sellers can now focus on what matters more, which is having a deeper conversation, a relationship, and potentially negotiating. The future is not about replacing great sellers or the humans. It's about giving every seller the kind of leverage that typically only belong to the top 5-10% sellers. When you do that, what you get is consistency across all sellers and excellence in everything they do. But humans will always be at the core of selling.
So you've explained a lot of areas where AI can clearly add value, but where does it fall short still?
Look, there are places where AI still falls short. It doesn't understand the unspoken dynamics in a customer conversation. It can't lead a negotiation, not just yet, when stakes are high and human emotion is real. It also sometimes falls short in establishing the trust that's required to move forward in a complex and more meaningful sales motion. Those are places where, by design, humans should be leading the discussions. But what it does take away is all the unnecessary, non-critical discussions that now can be taken care by AI.
How do you see talent and competitive dynamics evolve with AI?
It's rapidly changing. So our top sellers are choosing employers now based on the level of AI support they will get. The AI native competitors are raising the bar on customer experience expectations, and the stakes are really rising for our incumbents.
In practical terms, just explain to me, let me visualize what augmented selling would actually look like inside a sales team today when done well.
Sure, Georgie. Let's imagine I'm an inside seller and I show up Monday morning at work. I see the list of 10 customers I need to call today. There's back-end propensity modeling and AI prioritizing these customers. I know everything I need to talk about to this customer. I have my notes structured for me, the opportunities that are relevant. As I'm having the conversation with the customer, I'm getting real-time prompts. 5 minutes into the call, I get a note saying, shut up and listen, you speak too much. 10 minutes in, here's an answer to the question. You're not answering what the customer really wants to know. 5 minutes before the wrap of the call, they're saying, you should stop now and agree on next steps. And 5 minutes after, I get a personalized scorecard saying, you were a 6 on 10 on this call. By the way, you're improving. And having empathy is a good thing. That level of personalized coaching and enablement in the moment is the real game changer.
So, Japjit, I understand that you've brought a guest today for me to speak to.
Absolutely, Georgie. Let me introduce you to Jamie. Jamie will be a virtual assistant for you that I'll ask you to engage with shortly. And let's make up a scenario, and it would have been easy for me to do it and would have felt scripted. So imagine you own a company called Brightwave Podcast, and you've been seeing lower viewership, your completion rates are dropping, and then you can make stuff up. Have a conversation with Jamie as if you're the real business owner, and she's on the other side trying to help optimize your podcast viewership.
All right, then. Let's try this.
Hi, I'm Jamie, your Caliba customer service agent. How can I help you today?
Hi, Jamie. I'm Georgie. I'm the owner of Brightwave Podcasts, and I have a problem.
Got it. Is this for your current Brightwave campaign or another show you host?
This is for our current Brightwave campaign, and we're experiencing issues with lower viewership.
I understand that can be frustrating. For your Brightwave campaign, are you seeing low ad completion rates, or is it more about overall listener engagement with the ads?
No, so my biggest problem is completion rates. They seem to be going down on our campaign.
Thanks for clarifying. Low completion often relates to how well the ad fits the listener's experience. Are your ads placed within specific show genres or moods that might not be resonating as before?
Yeah, so we're mainly targeting lifestyle and small business podcasts, which aligns with what our audience interests are. They've done okay, but the problem is that completion has just been lower than expected lately.
That's a helpful observation. Even with good genre alignment, creative fatigue or message relevance can impact completion. Are you currently using dynamic creative optimization, DCO, or testing different ad hooks and calls to action?
No, this is not something we're currently doing.
Enabling DCO can help. It tests different creative variants in real time, finding what resonates best with your audience. Would you like to set up DCO testing for your campaign to improve completion rates?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's put that in place and test it out.
Great. I'll activate DCO for your Brightwave campaign. This will automatically rotate and optimize your creatives to boost completion. Next, do you want to review pacing and frequency caps to ensure listeners aren't seeing the same ad too often?
Yeah, that sounds great. Why don't we set up a call to discuss this further?
Absolutely. I can help schedule a session to review your pacing, frequency caps, and the new DCO setup. Would you like to do that sometime this week?
Yeah, that sounds great. Let's say Friday at 2:00 Central Time.
A session is scheduled for this Friday at 2 p.m. Central Time to review your campaign updates and discuss pacing. I'll send a calendar invite shortly. Would you like any additional support or questions addressed?
Yes, Jamie, I have one more question for you before you go. Can you give me the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything?
That's a classic. According to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the answer is 42. But for your campaign, I'm here to help optimize and improve results. Do you have any other questions about your ad performance?
That's it. It was great. Talk to you soon.
I'm glad I could assist. Looking forward to our session on Friday. Have a great day.
Bye. Well, there you go, Japjit. That was a bit of fun. Just tell me, what was I experiencing there? What did we learn from that?
What we have built behind the scenes is a platform that allows us to replicate the best human experiences that our customers have had using AI. The way we have trained that agent is looking at the best sellers and their call transcripts and what they would use to engage with customers and train Jamie to do that. We also train Jamie to not do what the worst of your seller experiences look like, and so you don't replicate. By the way, there's also another Jamie on the back end scoring this particular conversation and saying, here are two things Jamie could have done better. So every single conversation gets better and more meaningful. And we get insights out of this conversation that can inform your sales manager to know what to offer you next when they meet you on Friday.
How hard is it? How costly to implement something like Jamie?
Yeah, nothing good comes cheap, right? But the ROI on these investments is incredible. The time to value is becoming much smaller than what it has been traditionally when we did large scale go to market transformations a few years ago. You start seeing value pretty quickly in how your sellers are spending their time and how many leads you can pursue. And the ROI is justified because the investors are expecting most companies at this point to be embedding AI into all their workflows. And I think sales as a function is the one where we feel there's more tangible, clearly attributable value that you can get in terms of revenue per seller from advancing your AI agenda.
What do sellers tend to gain from this kind of AI support, and what do they worry that they might lose?
Sellers gain time, clarity, and conviction. They finally get relief from the research, the admin, the content prep, the mindless CRM updates, all the toil that takes them away from customers and having deep relationship. They also get sharper signals and better guidance on where to focus and recommendations on how they can improve. But what they worry about is losing authenticity or being replaced, honestly. But once they see that AI is taking work off their plates, not taking their place, those concerns fade quickly. The best sellers become better because they can now spend time in moments that matter more.
What changes about how performance is learned, measured, and improved when AI is part of the process?
Georgie, I think the shift will be that AI changes performance management from something that's reviewed periodically to something that's improved daily. Sellers get real-time coaching based on what top performance do, how their own historical performance has been through gamification. Managers get much clearer view around the pipeline health, the deal risk, and individual performance on their team. And they're learning from every interaction. Leadership gets dashboards that they can improvise and adjust and engage with and converse with on a daily basis. So the shift we will see in measurement is one away from intuition backed by data to one where data runs the decision making.
Having seen how this works in practice, what are the biggest misconceptions that leaders still have about using AI in sales? What are they telling you, Japjit?
The biggest misconception is that AI is a layer you can just bolt on to existing sales model. It's not. It's not just another tool you can hand over to your sellers and expect productivity to improve. The real value comes when leaders reimagine and reshape workflows end to end, and they reimagine how the customer interactions work. So you're not using AI to replace a part of the value chain, but you're using AI to reimagine the entire end-to-end journey for the customers. So when you simply add tools and you start expecting impact to emerge and it doesn't happen, you lose confidence in the ability of tools to be effective. It's not the tool, it's your ability to think about what it can deliver for you as outcomes.
I know you've spoken about humans being in the loop, but there is always a concern, isn't there, about relationship building and what you might lose with your customers by having an extra layer of tech, I suppose.
Yeah, no, that's very fair, Georgie. And we always use this 10-20-70 analogy where 10% of the value comes from the tech and the algorithms, 20% comes from the business process changes that you would do. But 70% of the value comes from the change management side of it, the human side of it, whether it's incentives and communications and clarity amongst why are we doing and clarity of purpose of what we're doing and feedback loops and making sure people are heard. Look, sellers would gain time. They would gain clarity. They gain confidence in their ability to be effective in helping the customers. And that time comes from, stuff that they were doing before that wasn't truly helpful. Like no seller enjoys doing CRM updates, no matter how easy and automated it becomes. That is real toil. So if you can take that toil away and give sellers extra capacity and mind share, they can actually invest more of that to either expand their book of business or go deeper with the customers that they're working on. But they do worry about losing authenticity. Or as you can appreciate, there's a concern about being replaced. But once you start seeing that the AI is letting you be more productive and deliver higher numbers, you start appreciating that the gains for the company is far more with you driving the ship with AI assisting you versus AI doing anything for you. And so the concern is real. And I think our best sellers are getting smarter in leveraging AI to augment their own performance and becoming even more indispensable for the business.
I'm just wondering if there are any types of sales, customers, or moments where AI just simply shouldn't be involved.
There are multiple ways to think about it. One is there are certain situations where you should not use AI. Complex negotiations, sensitive conversation, personnel related stuff, situations where there's emotional cues that matter. You don't want to use AI. You don't want to use AI for your most senior stakeholders. But there is a way that AI can still benefit you by being more prepared. Imagine this: if you're driving to meet a senior stakeholder for a meeting, you can use that AI bot like Jamie that we introduced to you to prepare for the meeting and structure your thoughts and ask questions that you may not have had time to prepare and recap what's the most important things, ask for the data sets that are required for that discussion. As you come out of the discussion, instead of going back and then spending 2 hours filling emails and CRM updates, you could simply send a voice note to Jamie to activate entry into your CRM, set up a next meeting with the client, inform 3 other teammates about what transpired in the discussion, and store 5 ideas of other commercial ideas that you should put at the customer. That's the level of enablement. So AI doesn't need to be explicitly introduced to the customer. It could also benefit your sellers more effectively.
How can a company ensure that when they implement AI, it is a success?
In the context of sales, I can say there are a few things that are key imperatives for making an AI-driven sales transformation successful. 1, have a clear, specific, and bold North Star. 2, chart a purposeful course. It's not about the number of tools you use. It's about priorities that you're trying to meet through those tools. 3rd, build and integrate the right tech stack, which is a key success factor. And there are tons of advancements here, so don't be stuck with what you already have. 4th, strengthen your responsible AI governance and guardrails. It's critical and will become even more critical to earn the trust from customers. And 5, drive adoption through people and leadership. Remember the 10-20-70 rule I talked about. It's not about the tech. It's about the human that is using the tech and the outcomes we're trying to deliver.
Is there a formula for success that every company could follow?
Unfortunately, there's no one-size-fits-all model for AI in sales. For high-volume, low-stakes interactions, AI can do much of the work autonomously. For mid-complexity motions, AI assists, handling the rep with the preparation materials, the prioritization, the follow-up, while the seller leads. And for the more strategic, high-stakes deals, AI augments the human. They surface the signals, they sharpen the insight, they handle the toil, while the seller owns the judgment, the narrative, and the trust. The companies that get this right don't ask how I use AI everywhere. They ask where should AI lead, support, or stay out of the way.
Looking ahead a few years when AI is embedded in everyday selling, what will stand out as the biggest difference from how sales works today, do you think?
Look, I think what will feel different is the rhythm of selling. The work will become far more proactive, more personalized, far more automated. Instead of sellers spending most of their time preparing to sell, they'll actually be selling. AI agents will run parts of the motions behind the scenes, and humans will handle high impact moments. And the organizations that are embracing this level of AI in their workflows will gain commercially quite a bit. And we aren't actually far away from our agents selling to our customers' agents. So that's coming too, but perhaps that's for the next podcast.
We've covered the so what. What about the now what? What are the next practical steps for leaders to take?
Start with outcomes, not tools. Decide where you want impact: new customer acquisition, expansion, churn reduction, or pricing, and then design the AI workflows backwards from that. Second, reimagine the customer journey and sales processes so AI can intervene meaningfully, not as a bolt-on. And third, bring your sellers into the design. When they see AI stripping away toil and elevating their performance, adoption takes care of itself. Companies that take this disciplined approach unlock a higher velocity and more competitive sales engine.
Japjit, thank you so much. And of course, thank you to Jamie and to you for listening. If you want to read more about AI agents in sales and also take a listen to our Imagine This podcast on the future of AI in sales, just follow the link in the show notes.